Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Master English Podcast. I'm Emma, and I'm really excited about today's episode because we're talking about a topic that affects every single one of us: money. Now, money isn't just about numbers, banks, or wallets. It's something we deal with in conversations almost every day. Think about it: you ask about prices, you pay bills, you save, you spend, and sometimes you even talk about whether something was really worth the money or not.
That's so true, Emma. And what's interesting is that money vocabulary comes up in so many different situations, not only when we're shopping or at the bank, but even in small, casual conversations. For example, you might tell your friend, "I'm broke this week," or "I need to save up for a holiday." These are simple, everyday expressions, but if you don't know them, it can be hard to keep the conversation going.
Exactly. And what I love about today's topic is that money is something people have strong feelings about. Sometimes we're excited because we got a good deal, sometimes we're stressed because bills are too high, and sometimes we're just curious about how other people spend or save. All of those situations need the right vocabulary and expressions in English.
And that's where this episode comes in. We're not going to talk about complicated financial systems or economics. Don't worry, no math here. Instead, we'll focus on the real, practical language you need when talking about money in everyday life. Expressions for shopping, saving, spending, borrowing, banking, things you can start using right away.
So whether you're planning to travel, studying abroad, or just wanting to sound more natural when chatting with friends, these tips will help you. And don't forget, at the end of the episode, we'll also have a short practice activity so you can repeat after us and really get comfortable with the phrases.
Alright, so grab a notebook if you want to take notes, or just relax and listen along. By the end of this episode, you'll have 10 new ways to talk about money in English with more confidence and ease.
Great! Let's get started with tip 1. Hi everyone, and welcome back to the Master English Podcast. I'm Emma, and today we're diving into a topic that touches all of our lives: money.
That's right. Whether you're shopping, saving, paying bills, or just chatting with friends, money vocabulary comes up all the time. So today, we're giving you 10 essential tips to help you talk about money naturally and confidently in English.
When you're shopping, you often need to ask about prices. The most common way is, "How much is this?" But you can also say, "What does this cost?" Or "Could you tell me the price of this?"
Yes, and when you hear the answer, you can react in a natural way. For example, if it's cheap, you might say, "That's a bargain." Or "That's a good deal." If it's expensive, you could say, "Wow, that's pricey," or "That's more than I expected."
Another useful area is paying. In English, we say pay in cash, pay by card, or pay online. For example, "Can I pay by credit card?"
And don't forget the word bill. You might say, "Could we have the bill, please?" In a restaurant. In American English, people also say check. Like, "Could I get the check, please?"
Saving money is something everyone talks about. You can say, "I'm saving up for a trip," or "I'm putting some money aside every month."
And if you're careful with money, you might say, "I'm trying to be frugal," or "I'm on a budget." Another common phrase is "I'm cutting back," which means you're spending less.
And if you're careful with money, you might say, "I'm trying to be frugal," or "I'm on a budget." Another common phrase is "I'm cutting back," which means you're spending less. Now, let's look at spending. You can say, "I spent too much on clothes this month," or "I like to treat myself sometimes."
Yes, and there are many idioms about spending. For example, to splash out means to spend a lot of money on something nice. We splashed out on a fancy dinner. Another is to break the bank, which means something costs a lot.
Here's a very common situation. Remember, borrow means you take money, and lend means you give money. So, "Can I borrow $10? And sure, I'll lend you $10.
Right. And people often talk about debt. You can say, "I'm in debt," or "I need to pay off my loan." And casually, people say, "I owe you one," meaning I'll return the favor later.
When you buy something, you often want to say if it was worth the money. For example, this phone was worth every penny or that meal wasn't worth the price.
Another great phrase is bang for your buck, which means good value. Like, this computer gives you a lot of bang for your buck.
Let's talk about earning. You can say, I earn a salary, I make money from teaching, or I get paid every week.
Yes, and in casual speech, people sometimes say, I make a living as a teacher or I'm bringing in some extra cash from part-time work.
Banks are part of everyday life. You might say, I need to open a bank account or I'm depositing money. Another word is withdraw, like, I withdrew some cash from the ATM.
Exactly. And don't forget transfer. You might say, I transferred money to my friend's account. These words are especially useful if you live or work in another country.
Some people also talk about investing. You could say, I invested in a business or I bought some stocks.
Yes, and common phrases include high risk, high reward, or I'm playing it safe. Even if you're not an investor, these phrases are great for everyday English.
Finally, let's look at how people describe wealth. You can say, he's well off or she's wealthy. Informally, you might hear he's loaded, meaning very rich.
And for not having much money, people say, I'm broke or I'm short on cash. These are very common in everyday conversations.
Alright, let's practice together. I'll ask Jack some questions, and you can answer with us. Jack, how would you ask about the price of a laptop politely?
I'd say, excuse me, how much does this laptop cost?
Perfect. Listeners, repeat that with us. Good job. Now another one, what would you say if you don't have any money with you right now?
I'd say, sorry, I'm broke.
Exactly. Everyone, repeat, I'm broke. Great work.
So today, we learned 10 essential tips for talking about money in English: prices, paying, saving, spending, borrowing, value, earning, banking, investments, and wealth.
That's right. Use these expressions in your daily life, and you'll sound more natural and confident. Thanks for joining us on the Master English Podcast.
See you next time.